The old man spent $100 to buy this shabby wooden house. Now the developer is offering $1 billion. But facing such a high price, the stubborn old man refused. The workers tried to persuade him, but he yelled at the developer. The bulldozer crushed his mailbox, and the stubborn old man hit the worker with a walking stick, knocking him down. This gave the developer an opportunity. They took the old man to court and demanded he move to a nursing home in 3 days or face arrest for injury. But even at this point, the old man refused to back down, not for more compensation, but the house meant a lot to him. The old man's name is Carl. He dreamed of becoming an adventurer since he was a child. He met tomboy Ellie. Like Carl, Ellie loves adventure too. She made the cabin her secret base. She dreamed of exploring the world. She also gave Carl her badge, showing they are now companions. This encounter made them friends. Sometimes at night, the tomboy Ellie would climb to Carl's window, nestle in the quilt tent, and share her adventure manual. They agreed to adventure and build the cabin by her parents, the most beautiful paradise. Ellie's manual has many flags she wants to travel, and Carl vowed to accompany her. Carl kept his promise. From sweethearts to marriage, they bought the cabin suits and wedding dresses from childhood. Before taking them off, they decorated their home, cabin, and mailbox to get closer. Whenever Ellie worked, Carl sold balloons. In their free time, they would lie on the grass, dreaming about the future. Carl said he wanted a child, but Ellie replied, "No, I want many, many children." They prepared a room for the kids. But then, an unexpected blow came. Ellie found out she couldn't have children. Watching his wife's despondent figure, Carl pulled out their adventure manual and promised to take her to see Paradise Falls. So they started saving money, day by day, coin by coin. But every time their piggy bank filled up, various accidents would occur. A flat tire, Carl getting hurt, a tree crushing their house, and so on. Days went by like this. Carl and Ellie have both grown old. Time has aged them. But deep into their love, they work by day, dance by night. Even chores like cleaning are in harmony. One day, Carl sees a childhood photo of Ellie adventuring, reminding him of their dreams. Carl buys plane tickets to surprise her, but illness strikes, disrupting plans. In hospital, Ellie hands Carl the adventure manual, holds his hand, and drifts to sleep. Carl is alone, sitting in the hall. They married, walking home with balloons. Time has brought us to today. Although Carl still gets up as usual, sets the table, enjoys his coffee, and cleans every corner with care, the world seems to have lost its color. Now, Carl is being forced into a nursing home for injuring someone. Before leaving his home, he finds Ellie's adventure manual. He flips through the pages, stopping at Paradise Falls. Looking at the photo of his wife on the shelf and the mural on the wall, Carl makes the sign of the cross over his heart and promises Ellie. Once again the next day, the nursing home staff come to collect him, but what they find is a yard filled with helium tanks and a wooden house tied up with countless balloons. Carl and Ellie set off on an adventure he once promised his wife. Carrying all his memories with him, Carl is lying on the sofa, sighing. But then, a sudden knocking at the door stops him. Carl thinks it might be his son playing a prank, and as he leans back to rest, the knocking comes again. He looks through the peephole and sees a blue sky with white clouds. When he opens the door, there's no one on the left, but on the right, Russell, a chubby kid, wished to help Carl move, but ended up in the flying house. Carl left shivering. Russell, inside, Russell, a social butterfly, grabbed the wheel, almost driving Carl crazy. Luckily, tall buildings distracted Russell, making him put down the wheel. He exclaimed the buildings were so high he could touch them. This reminded Carl of getting Russell out onto a building to go home. Unfortunately, with Russell's weight and energy, the outcome wasn't promising. Huge forces threw Carl directly to the ground, and the flying house began to shake. Various furniture was overturned to the ground. Luckily, Carl rescued in time, so that Ellie's relic wouldn't fall to the ground. After a long time, the flying house survived the storm safely. Russell boasted to Carl, as if he had helped him open the flying house to South America. But even so, Carl still wanted to put this chubby kid back. For this, he let go of some balloons, and brought Russell to the corridor, waiting for the flying house to fall. But then, a huge stone pillar slipped past the flying house. This shocked Carl. He didn't expect himself to enter the cliff again. The flying house fell to the cliff. Under intense shaking, both Carl and Ellie shook out of the wooden house. Without the weight of the two people, the flying house was about to return to the sky. At a critical moment, Carl endured the backache and climbed up from the ground. He grabbed the water pipe with one hand, and Russell followed closely. He grabbed Carl's leg tightly to save the flying house from the edge of the cliff. It was at this time that the thick fog dissipated. Carl only found that the other side of the cliff was heaven. The beautiful scenery led him directly to it. But in this situation, the two couldn't climb back to the flying house at all. Only one person and a rope carrying the flying house to the destination was difficult, but it wasn't long before they set off. The weight of 250 Russell couldn't move. He had to go to the bathroom no matter what he said. After he dug a hole to play, he still touched a lot of ashes. He took out the chocolate and wanted to replenish his energy, but this was a huge bird's nest in the forest. He secretly ate Russell's snacks. This kind of 5-colored bird is called a big jade. Many years ago, Carl's idol, an explorer named Mencius, once brought back the skeleton of the big jade from South America. But at that time, the Adventurers Association identified it as a fake. He even fired Mencius from the meeting in order to defend his honor. Mencius drove the flying ship to South America. He swore to capture the big jade alive. But this trip was gone for decades. I didn't expect Carl to take a step forward today. He saw the big jade alive and couldn't hold Russell's request. Carl could only allow the little fat man to continue with the big jade. On the way, they met a big yellow dog that couldn't find its owner. Hey, he's been trained.
Did that dog just say hi there?
Oh, yes.
Bruh!
My name is Doug. I have just met you, and I love you.
That's right, it turned out that he was wearing a high-tech collar. It can turn the dogfish into a human. The little dog told Carl that he was a tracker. He was helping the owner catch the strange bird. As soon as the sound of the words fell, the strange bird threw the little dog to the ground. Under the little fat man's soft ink, the exploration team added new members on the way. The old man thought the strange bird and the little dog were too noisy, so he used the ball and the chocolate to lure them away. The two of them ran crazily with the flying fog, but in the end, they still couldn't get rid of the strange bird and the dog. One night, the little fat man begged Carl to take them in. He accidentally learned that the little fat man was from a single-parent family at that moment. Carl felt a little sorry for the child, but the next morning, the two of them were surrounded by a group of talkative bad dogs. I didn't expect the little dog to be with them. The old man regretted it. He was escorted to a cave. At this time, the dog owner appeared. Carl stared at him. The old man in front of him was actually his wife's idol. The explorer Charles Mingzi heard that Carl was his fan. Mingzi ordered the dogs to prepare for dinner. Then the explorer invited the two of them to the flying fog. They visited his museum. By the way, there were many dinosaur fossils here. There was also a strange bird. The old man was a little confused. The strange bird was not extinct. Why is there a fossil here? It turned out that decades ago, Mingzi brought the strange bird fossil back. But the experts at the time thought that Mingzi was faking it. There is no such creature in the world. Mingzi swore to find the strange bird to prove himself. But this move has been going on for decades. Carl was a little anxious and wanted to leave immediately, but the little fat man was a pig teammate. When he saw the strange bird, the biologist really told Mingzi and exposed the weakness of the strange bird's love for chocolate. Mingzi suddenly showed an evil face. The explorers who had visited the flying fog were all killed by him. Obviously, Carl and the little fat man had a hard time. What's worse, the strange bird made a few screams in the flying fog. While Mingzi was out of his mind, Carl and the little fat man fled out of the flying fog. But the bad dogs behind him came after him again. Fortunately, Wang found it with his conscience. Not only did he lead them, he also chased them with a stone block. At this time, the strange bird also played the advantage of long legs. The old man was running at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour, but the cliff blocked the way. Seeing the bad dogs coming after him, the strange bird took off and flew to the opposite side. The bad dogs who didn't stop the car fell into the water. Although they escaped danger, the strange bird's leg was badly hurt. Meanwhile, Mingzi used the GPS on Ah Huang to locate a few people and quickly chased them down in her airship. During the escape, the strange bird was trying to fly to save Carl, but Mingzi set his house on fire, causing his wife's photo to shatter. Carl felt a sharp pain in his heart and gave up on rescuing the monster. The vicious dog rushed in and dragged the injured strange bird into the airship. The chubby kid could only shout in despair. The fire was finally out, but his heart felt completely cold. You actually, abandon him. I can't care so much, and I don't want to care about this at all. Master, please don't wait. Listen, I am not your master. If you hadn't appeared, nothing would have happened. Fatty, disappointed with Carl, threw his medal down. The team disbanded, and the old man dragged the house forward silently. Soon, Carl reached Fairyland Waterfall. His dream came true, but he wasn't happy. Seeing the empty sofa, Carl felt sad. He opened his wife's adventure manual to check in, but the last pages were filled. Feedback came to his mind. Ellie just wanted to stay with him forever. Carl read his wife's last words and cried. Flying Fatty interrupted, wanting to save the bird himself. The old man rekindled his spirit, but too few balloons to lift the house. Carl decisively threw out all the furniture, including the sofa full of memories of the two. The house took off smoothly, and Carl's adventure began. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. It turned out that Ah Huang had not left, begging Carl to take him in. "If I take you in, you will be my dog, and I will be your master. You're my master." Meanwhile, the chubby kid was captured by dogs. As Mingzi was about to trust the kid, Carl arrived to save him. The old man feared the kid would slow him, so he left him in the house while the bird was caged, guarded by dogs. When Carl was lost, his cane reminded him, "Who wants your ball? Big brother, go for it." In 2009, the strange bird was finally rescued, but just as Carl was retreating, Mingzi, with bloody hands and a 3-foot-long sword, planned to eliminate him. The two old men were locked in a fierce battle, but being older, their bodies were frail. Carl and Mingzi both twisted their waists at the same time, and on the other side, Ah Huang was about to be torn to pieces when he stumbled upon the airship's steering column. In an instant, the airship began to flip, causing Mingzi to fall to the ground, and Carl took the opportunity to escape with the strange bird. After a fierce battle, the chubby kid flew over in the airship, but Mingzi's murderous intent had already escalated. She used a shotgun to burst most of the balloons, causing the airship to lose buoyancy and start to plummet. Seeing this, Carl quickly grabs the water hose. "Little Ro, come out quick." "No, don't hurt them." Mingzi burst in, and Carl was running out of strength. In panic, he had an idea and pulled out half a chocolate bar. The strange bird couldn't resist food, and with the chubby kid, they ran. Mingzi tried to escape, but it was too late. In the end, she paid the price for her greed with her life. Charles Mingzi is the only villain in Pixar animation who dies, and we all know why. The old man eventually saved the chubby kid and the strange bird, but his beloved house flew away. "I know where I am. You're upset, Mr. Feldison. It is just a house." Carl let go of worries after completing his adventure. Believing his wife in heaven felt relieved. Then, Carl sent the strange bird back home to Xiaopang, who wanted to raise it, but it belonged to nature. The two drove Mingzi's airship, took Ah Huang and a new dog, and set sail in the dazzling sunshine. Finally, Carl attended the ceremony of the little explorers for Xiaopang's parents, and he put the medal that his wife had given him on Xiaopang's chest. Traditionally, cartoons are made for children, but this Pixar production of Up has been well received since its release. In the first 1 to 5 minutes of the film are seen by many as the ultimate romance of love. Carl and Ellie have been together from childhood to old age, supporting each other in times of joy and sorrow. Being with you is the most romantic adventure. Encounters may not always end, but they always have meaning. Life should be free, setting off with excitement and returning with joy. I can suspect. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Narrator Stories Recaps for more exciting movie breakdowns.